So I was having this conversation in the DM with a client who saw some of the fibroid recipes that I posted on the page, and then she was asking me questions about it, if she should get the fibroid treatment. You know, the thing is, I post a lot of recipes on the page, particularly recipes that are traditional recipes. What I mean by traditional recipes are traditional herbal medicine. And the thing is, nobody really knows how those recipes came about. Do you understand? Many of those recipes are very, very old. When I'm saying old, I'm talking about probably hundreds of years old. All right. So one thing you need to know about fibroids is that there are 1,001 herbs you can use to treat fibroids. 1, 2, there are 1,001 recipes you can use, particularly traditional recipes. The problem is most of those recipes, they were, would I say, formed or developed many years ago. So you can imagine a recipe that is over 100 years old. So maybe some herbalist, some traditional healer 100 or 200 years ago stumbled upon this and used this successfully to shrink fibroids in a woman, and then tried it on other women and it worked. So people started passing it down from generation, you know what I mean, passing it down to their children, and then their children will pass it down, and so on. But you have to realize that most traditional recipes, yes, they were developed many years ago, sometimes hundreds of years ago, by somebody that nobody knows, but the person used it successfully. That was then. The lifestyles of people now are very different from the lifestyles of people 100 years ago. The kind of toxins that women are exposed to now, women were not exposed to them then. That's number 1. Number 2, in the olden days, women used to get married very early, sometimes as young as 12, 13. So they start giving birth early, and that offers some protection to their body. So in the olden days, it was very rare to see women with fibroids. That's another thing. Now, for a treatment that was developed like 100 years ago, at a time when there were no toxins like plastics, all these chemicals that are now in our environment that are attacking our endocrine systems, they did not exist then. So expecting such a formula to do wonders in this time and age is like wishful thinking. However, because these are things that I discovered in my practice, there are still some people that will respond to those treatments. That is why I bother posting them. But each time I make such posts, I always emphasize something. I say this: the best treatments for you if you have fibroids are personalized treatments. All right, not generic treatments. Certainly not these treatments. If you want to give it a trial, there is no problem. Just have it at the back of your mind that it might not work. Another thing with fibroids I've come to realize is that monotherapy is usually not the best way anymore to handle fibroids. Monotherapy means one herb. My most successful fibroid formulations to date are complex formulations. I posted a review, and I'm still going to do a video about that later. I really don't have time to do it now, but I'm going to do it. I posted a review about a woman, one of my clients, who is doing preparing herself for IVF, and her largest fibroid shrunk from 5 cm to 2.9. That is a 42% shrinkage within 1 month. That is the biggest success I've ever had. Why? Because she was not only taking the fibroid herbs, she's also taking a lot of herbs that are preparing her body for IVF. So what I believe happened was that all the different formulations actually worked in synergy to enhance the effect of the fibroid treatment, because typically you don't see that kind of shrinkage except in about 2 months, if it's very, very good formula for the woman. Yeah, so we are talking about, in this lady's case, we are talking about almost 200 different herbs going into our body. So that's a very complex formulation. Don't let anybody deceive you. Fibroid treatments should not be generic. That is, oh, we are selling fibroid tea, everybody buys the same thing. You can't expect it to work the same for everybody. Yeah, especially if these are traditional recipes that were developed so many years ago, when the lifestyles were so different.